Hello again and welcome to another Mordy and Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode, I want to take you through my 2000 point competitive infantry melee guard army. That's right, it's time to send in the next wave, and this time we will be charging right into close combat. We will be seeing the whites of their eyes. And so, without further ado, let's not mess around any further. Let's fix bayonets and charge right into today's video. Now, the first thing I want to do is say a big thank you to the Mordy and Glory live stream community. I wasn't sure what list I wanted to take to this tournament, and so over the course of a live stream with various polls and back and forth questions, the live stream community not only helped me pick the kind of list that I want to take, but also helped me craft the army with the different units. It was a really fun process, and I'm looking to do it more going forward in the future. So if you want to help decide and mold the list that I take to the tournaments, then please consider joining the live streams. But with that shameless plug out of the way, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of this army and get into the deep dive. As is tradition, let us begin with the Infantry Corps. Every day in the Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal, a banquet. Every paycheck, a fortune. Every formation, a parade. I love the Corps. Now we have a couple of interesting units on the side here, but we'll come back to those in a moment. Let's begin with some bread and butter. Let's begin with some guardsmen. Starting off, we have two units of Cadian shock troops, and these guys have been equipped as the combat Cadians. So we've got the usual 20 guardsmen, and we've given them some plasma and melter, because you really can't go wrong with plasma and melter. Then each sergeant has got a chainsword. Where the combat punch comes in is what we're able to attach to those squads. We have got two Cadian command squads. Now we've got the flag and the Master Vox and the medic, because we kind of had to take those, but we've also got two power fists. The quirky thing about the Cadian command squad is that there's now no difference between the power fist that is wielded by the officer and the power fist that is wielded by just the basic dude. A power fist is a power fist, and so we actually get 6 strength 6 AP-2 2 damage attacks here. We're then supporting that with a Cadian Castellan. Cadian Castellan is also going to have a power fist, so he's going to be adding another 4 power fist attacks to this unit. So we're getting 10 of those strength 6 AP-2 2 damage attacks now. That's pretty decent from a guard squad. And finally, we are adding on an Ogrin bodyguard, and we're keeping him with the standard loadout of the Ooge knife and the Ripper gun. The Ooge knife gives us an additional 6 attacks, and I believe those are strength 8 AP-1 2 damage. Now you don't often see people take the Ooge knife because they lean more towards taking the invulnerable save shield and the brute maul, but we don't really need the invulnerable save shield. Our durability is going to come from all of these warm bodies. So these guys are basically 20 ablative wounds, whilst the power fists, the Castellan and the Ogrin start bonking people on the heads. And we have 2 units in this exact same configuration. But then we move on to our next kind of guard combat blob, and that is the Death Corps of Krieg. I've got 3 of these units, and each one has got 20 Death Corps of Kriegers. We've got 11 riflemen, a medic, 2 grenade launchers, 2 plasma guns, 2 melter guns, and 2 sergeants with plasma pistol and power sword. They are being supported by a Death Corps Marshal, who's also going to have a plasma pistol and a power sword. Now that will give us 8 power sword attacks. Power swords are okay. They're strength 4, AP-2, 1 damage, but we're going to need something a little bit more punchy than that if we are going to take on some of the harder targets. This is where the Tech Priest and the Servitors come in. So each one of these squads is going to be joined by a Tech Priest and 4 of the Munitorm Servitors. Those Servitors are just going to have their basic loadout, the servo arm, same for the Tech Priest. Now, each one of these servitors gets 1 of those strength 6 AP-2 3 damage attacks, and then you've got the Tech Priest, who basically comes with 4 similar attacks. That's another 8 attacks. So in total, this unit is going to have also 16 power attacks, power weapon, power fist attacks. The difference between obviously the Cadians and the Kriegers is a lot of the Krieg attacks are a lower strength and a lower damage, but they have their own advantages. Firstly, the moment they take one casualty, the whole unit gets +1 to hit thanks to Grim Demeanor. If they go below half strength, they'll have +1 to hit and +1 to wound, which will definitely get round the inherent weakness of the power swords and will really start making those power fists do some good work. But you also have the fact that the servitors will benefit from not only that Grim Demeanor +1 to hit, they'll also benefit from the fixed bayonets order as well, which is going to make them much more reliable when it comes to their own attacks. Finally, it's important to remember that the servitors, when they attach to the unit, and they do that via the tech priest, due to the quirky way the rules are written, the servitors essentially become part of the starting unit strength of the Death Corps of Krieg. This means that if this Death Corps of Krieg unit gets wiped out, then, and presuming that the servitors have died as well, then that means that I can use reinforcements, and not only do I get the Death Corps back, I also get the 4 servitors back that are attached to them. It is a bit weird, and I know some of you are going to instinctively say that's not how it works, but trust me, I've covered this in separate videos, and I highly encourage you to check out those rules for yourself. You will see that the servitors do come back with the main squad. Now, we've got 3 of those units, so in total, that is giving us, so far, 5 blobs of combat guard. But what would a combat guard be without the man, the myth, the legend, Colonel Ironhand Strachan? That's right, we have got Colonel I tore Landshark's throat out with my teeth Strachan in this army, leading it forward, and he is just there with 20 Katjans. I tried to squeeze in things like a command squad here, maybe throw Nort Dead Dog in, but I just didn't quite have the points, and I realised that it was kind of overkill. Frankly, I've been sending Strachan into things with just 20 Katjans for pretty much all of 10th edition, and he's not needed any backup. He's always been able to get the job done on his own. So I'm confident that he doesn't need the help from the command squad or from Nork. He is the one-man army. He will get the job done. I know many of you who follow this channel will be familiar of my love affair with Strachan, but in case you're not sure what he does, he gets, just him on his own, when he's leading a Katjan unit, he gets 6 attacks at strength 7, AP -3, damage 2, with lethal hits and 4 rolls to hit and 4 rolls to wound. If you take a look at his data sheet, you might think, hang on, I'm only seeing like strength 6 attacks, AP -2. You've got to remember how Strachan's rules combine with the Katjan Jungle Fighter rules themselves. So he has a lot of combat punch, and I have had this guy take on Hive Tyrants and win in single combat. Also, another good reason why I've had him on his own and I've not put him with a command squad or Nork is he has Scout and the Katjans have Scout. If I put a command squad and Nork in there, they lose that ability. And Scout is very, very valuable. It means that these guys can get across the table quicker, and even if that just means they start doing objectives sooner, that's great, or it means that they get into combat ASAP. Now that covers the guard units in this army, and we have got 6 combat blobs. That is a lot of bodies, especially when you take into account things like the servitors, the command squads, and the other characters. Lots of wounds and lots of damage 2 or even higher attacks. But there are a couple of other funny units that I've chucked in here just to try them out, just to see how they do. On either end of this parade, I have got an inquisitorial kill team, fully maxed out, led by an inquisitor. I've done a video on inquisitorial kill teams and how I think they are one of the most underrated units in 40k right now. These things are wildly durable. The damage output is decent, but they are one of the tankiest infantry units in the game. They each have 2 wounds. Each of these 16 models have got 2 wounds, and they get a 5% vulnerable save, and they're -1 to wound as well. So they're So they're pretty good. And the damage output isn't to be underestimated with the fact that you've got things like the gun servitor, you've got the demon host, you've got the Jukero, you've got the plasma pistol, and in combat, you've got lots of power weapons and acolyte weapons. So there's a decent amount of combat and shooting there, especially when you also take into account that there is an Inquisitor leading them as well. But the big thing with these guys is, like I said, how tanky they are. I intend for my Inquisitorial kill teams to go at the front. They will be going in the first wave, and they are going to be absorbing a lot of damage. If my opponent tries to clear these things out, he probably will succeed, but it's going to take way, way, way more firepower than he might intend to use. Also, the amount of overlapping abilities that these things get when you've got, for example, like the Mystics as well. So I've got 2 of these Inquisitorial kill team blobs. Each one has has 2 Mystics in. These Mystics create a anti-deep strike bubble of 12 inches. Now bear in mind there's 2 Mystics. That means you can have 1 on each end of the squad. And it just creates this phenomenally large anti-deep strike bubble. Or anti-reserve bubble. Like, it may not come up, but if anyone does try and deep strike anything in, like Grey Knights, they are going to be in for a real, just world of pain. It's going to be very, very frustrating for them. So the 2 henchman blobs are maxed out. We've gone for all of the gear, all of the acolytes, all of the henchmen. We've also, like I said, added 2 Inquisitors. Now, our first Inquisitor is going to be Inquisitor Eisenhorn. Well, this is my counts as Inquisitor Eisenhorn. I quite like Eisenhorn because not only does he have a decent profile with Barbarous Satyr and his rune stuff giving him some good combat capability, he also can shoot mine bullets at people, and he has like a crazy, I have to double check it to be honest, I'm going off the top of my head here, but he does have a crazy like pseudo lone op ability as well. He's pretty good, I'm not going to lie. Although to be fair, I might be getting that mixed up with Kyriodraxus. But either way, Inquisitor Eisenhorn is possibly the best Inquisitor you can get right now. For just 10 points more over a regular Inquisitor, he comes with a lot of extra flavour. Plus, he also makes the Demon Host a lot better as well. In leading the other Inquisitor blob, I have got Inquisitor Cotiers. Now, I like Cotiers because he does give me some potential CP manipulation here as well, but also he has got a really nice Thunderhammer. His Thunderhammer isn't just doubling his usual strength, like strength 3 or anything like that. No, this is a strength 9 Thunderhammer, which actually makes him have possibly the most powerful close combat weapon in this army. It's definitely a weapon you don't want to underestimate. Also, Cotiers is just cool. He's coming, he's going to get you. So when you take all of this into account, I have got 8 units of 8 blobs of infantry that are all quite durable. They've all got feel no pains, and they've got -1 to wound, and there's got a lot of bodies behind them as well. Now the overall game plan with this list is going to be swarming objectives. There's a very, very good chance that I end up taking fixed objectives, similar to my Tyranid Endless Swarm list, how I end up going with Cleanse and Deploy Teleport Homer. I very well may do something similar with this army. Just swarm onto the middle objectives, put a couple of really dead hard units on them, like the Inquisitorial blobs, try and push past, try and put pressure on the enemy, and just see if I'm able to just pick up the points regularly every single turn. I'm going to play it by ear though, rather than it being locked in like with the Tyranids. I'm going to play it by ear because obviously this army isn't quite as fast moving as the Tyranids, so it may be that I will need to go for tactical objectives. But I'm definitely going to give fixed objectives a go when I take this army to the tournament. What I like about this army though is it's quite tactically flexible. Of course, the intention is to build a combat melee guard army to go in there with balls and bayonets and drive them, men, drive them. But I do have a good amount of firepower here as well. There's a lot of melter guns, a lot of plasma guns. There's just a lot of long-range firepower as well. And this means that if I do get in a situation where, I need to, take that objective, but really don't want to get into combat. Maybe there's something particularly horrible like Custodes that are just going to go fights first and just fill me in. I can go, okay, well, I'm going to soften them up first. And depending on how my firepower does, then maybe I go in. So it's got a bit more depth than the NIDS, which had one single goal. This thing can move forward, it can play combat, it can play shooty, it's got bodies, it's got durability, and it's probably got surprising maneuverability when you take into account things like move, move, move. Overall, I see the general game plan of this list to be move forward and dominate objectives, to be lead into those fixed objectives, but I think it's got a bit more nuance and a bit more flexibility, which hopefully will help it from getting hard countered by opponents that just have a lot of anti-infantry. Hopefully, it will be able to take on a few more situations. But of course, all of that is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. How would you change his army? Would you include the Inquisitorial blobs, or would you swap them out for something else and maybe go down that pure combat guard route? I know I've not got any Borgrins in here. Are there any non-infantry units that you would add to this combat army to try and make it a little bit more durable or give it a bit more punch? If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to smash that like button. It really does help boost this video with the algorithm, and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier patrons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.